Hey there, Miller, Strategy Battle Gamers. So I'm here with it's like a tactics talk slash kind of army review, overview of Nova, but it's just a review of my trip to Nova with the Hobbit army, along with the tactics talk. I got the book. So let me start by saying that I had a blast in Nova. I would actually recommend anyone. I think I did this kind of on our journey thing, but I'm going a little bit more in depth. So I would recommend anyone in North America who has the funds and kind of loves the game like us. I would recommend going to Nova. It's just a great experience, not just for new players and stuff, but just in general. I'm a vet. I've been playing for 10 years, and every time I go to Nova, I'm like a kid in a candy store. So I would recommend most definitely anyone go to Nova if they have the means to do it. So as a team, we actually had about 6 of us from the Carolinas League there. And we participated in 2 of the events, the doubles and the GT. GT being the grand tournament. So at the doubles tournament, me and Derek kind of took a tactic, traps win games kind of tactic, try to trap guys with our ferals and our Watchers of Karna, and just go for the trap double dice string 4 models, transfix monsters with Sharky tactic, which worked very well. We placed 3rd at the doubles. First time that me and Derek are actually not 10-0 with the doubles, not just that specific army, but in general. So I think we'll probably try and go again next year for doubles. Try and go a little bit higher. Don't get me wrong, our first time doing doubles, we got 3rd place. I was pretty proud of that. First time I've actually taken a trophy certificate from a tournament. So the next day we started our grand tournament. I took my Hobbit Force. Of course, many of you will know, because of the journey, I took the Hobbit Force. I went for a kind of themey. I wanted to go for a North Arnor, the Rangers, protecting the Shire kind of theme with Eldon and Albert here. Worked out great. I had 100% bow limit, 30 shots. But I'm going to go a little more in depth with the Hobbit army. Now, by no means do I consider myself a expert in the army. It's kind of a niche army, if you will. I think it takes a little bit more finesse to play than others. I'm used to playing armies like Isengard, fiefdoms. Well, I'm just starting fiefdoms. Armies that have a lot of armor on, you just go in there and pound each other out. The Hobbits aren't like that at all. So I'm going to go in depth with my games and kind of explain my logic behind it and the tactic. So, first scenario is domination, which should be a tailor-made win for the Hobbits. You should win that game. Meaning you normally are going to out-model your opponent so much that you should be able to at least contest all the objectives on the table. Now, what happened in that game is I was versing Iron Hills. He had a Chariot, Dane, Galadriel, Lady of Light, and I want to say a warband worth of Iron Hills guys. So it was a very elite army. So right off the bat, when I saw his army, I was excited because I knew I can at least contend with his Chariot. Just let him kill Hobbit's militia while I flank around and take objectives. That's basically what was my goal for the tournament. It worked. So we ended the game. It was 8-0. I was unbroken. I had contested 2 objectives. I held 2 objectives. And I got the leader wound. Now, the leader wound was about as lucky as you can get. And I got a few more wounds after this, but I initially got the leader wound because I threw a throwing rock in a Dane. And I was afraid my opponent was going to think I had weighted dice or something because I rolled a 6 to hit because he had blind light up. I rolled a 4 to hit the rider. I was okay. It's a long shot, but I'll try. I rolled a 6 and a 6, which is the max. String 1 rock, that's the max you can do is a 6x6 to the model I did. I cannot believe it when I did it. And he was like, okay, whatever. Fate, failed. Failed all this fate, hit him on my left. So I was like, oh my gosh. I wounded Dane with a throwing rock. So that was about the luckiest moment I've had at Nova, was that one throwing rock in the first game. So I'm going to start off with then I'm going to kind of go off now into tactics talk, kind of break it off. So the Hobbit Force is probably Rohan and the Hobbits are kind of my favorite armies now. The Hobbits being the opposite side of the spectrum is Rohan. So the Rohan's an elite army. You focus a charge, a flank, try and piecemeal an army. That's kind of how I play Rohan. I don't really play foot. I just play mounted. I think that's kind of how they were meant to be played. So the Hobbit army, though, is a horde army. It is literally built to be a horde army. Your models are dirt cheap, and your heroes are dirt cheap, and they should be, because they're not very strong. So basically when I was building my list, I was like, okay, I can't just take pure hobbits. I think most people who play hobbits recommend that you don't take just pure hobbits. You ally in a caster or elves or someone strong. I took rangers with elves. So I had elves, hobbits, and men in my army. So I'm going to start off by just going down. So I don't take Frodo. I didn't take him at Nova, and I took him a few times the first time I played him. I just think he's too expensive for what he does. Yeah, he's a banner, but again, it's a 3-inch banner. I don't know if it's worth it. Personally, he can't strike blows. He only has 1 might. Me personally, I just don't like him. Like, his stat line currently. I think he's too expensive for what he does. But he could work for some people out, probably has. Again, like I said, I'm not really the expert of hobbits. I don't consider myself an expert. I'm just telling you what works for me as a player, and what worked for me at Nova and the practice games I had. So Samwise the Brave and Peregrine, I took both of them. My logic was put both of them on ponies, just kind of use them as a mini-me missile going in there, try and get like 8 dice on someone, trap them with militia, and charge them. Basically, is what I was going for. And it worked. I'll go into that later on, because that happened later in the game. So, first round, Sam and Bulror took, because I also took Bulror took. They basically rode around with their respective war bands and took his 2 objectives. I couldn't finish. He had 2 Iron Hills guys on each objective. I couldn't kill both of them, even with trapping of like 20 hobbits and piercing striking up. I just couldn't roll the high enough numbers to do it. But I came close. They were still contesting the objective, which was important for him. But I ultimately had more models contesting, so that's why I was able to get the 1 VP for each. So then the next game I played was Lords of Battle. Me and Dan actually got paired up against each other, which who would have thought? The hundreds of games we play against each other, the distance we traveled, me and him got paired up at Nova. It was a draw. Basically what happened was, and for anyone who knows this, I think Lords of Battle is probably the worst scenario for hobbits, just because of the number of kills. You know what I'm saying? So he might kill. I might break him, and I might do decent, but he'll probably kill more models. He'll probably get 3 times more, because they're so weak. And even if I just deploy in the back and let him heroic march to me or whatever, I don't think I'd. You probably wouldn't kill enough models to make up for it, because it's normally what's happened. I've been able to kill like 8 or 9 models before combat even gets, but then eventually they'll triple my number. So. But it was a draw because he did get triple the number of kills, but I somehow, Bulror took, and Sam, those 2 strength 3 models, I was able to go in there and trap Faramir, somehow win the fight, and then do like 5 wounds to him. I rolled 5 6s, and me and him were both like, I couldn't believe it. I got the leader kill, like 2nd turn of combat. And then I did break him, and he didn't break me. So it was a draw because he got 3 times the models. I broke him, he didn't break me, and I got the leader wound. I think it was like 5-5 or something like that. That's how it became. So it was satisfying to me that it was a draw, because against, I think his army is great, but he didn't really have the berserkers, the things in there that could have gone in there and really messed me up. And I think ultimately, if I versed someone like who's playing Isengard, a little bit more vicious kind of tactic, because he also wanted to sit back and shoot, and that's how his army was. Make them come to you and then envelop, which he wasn't able to do that against me, because I outmodeled him big time. And because of the deployment, it was on a debris map, and there was a huge stream in the middle, and it kind of stopped us from maneuvering around each other, just because our battle lines were so big. So ultimately, I think if I were someone a little bit more elite, it could have been a loss. I don't know though, because the way I won was pretty easy, pretty good win. I also killed Boromir. He ran out of might, killing guys basically. So it was just weird. It was a weird game, but it was a tie. Third game of that day was Fog of War. I ultimately lost the game. No, it was my 1 loss at Nova out of the entire tournament, including the doubles, because there was a lighthouse. It was his objective, a windmill. Sorry, and I was like, it's probably his objective. But see, when I read the rules, I have this weird thing I do where I read the rules, I don't read it again before the tournament, and I forget. So I was like, okay, I'm an inch away, so I'm good. No, it had been base contact. So I could have been contesting this windmill with like 20 guys, but it's because of my error that I lost. I didn't interpret the rules how I should have, or I didn't go back and read them. So I lost. That was the only loss I had, and it was a major loss, but it was a very close game. Ultimately, he didn't break me. I broke him. He killed the guy he was supposed to kill. We both protected the people we were supposed to protect. So yeah, it was a good game, though. I mean, I was pretty happy with the loss. Unlike last year where I got tabled like 3 of my games. So yeah, that was good. So anyway, going back to the Hobbit, it's kind of weird. I'm flip-flopping. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going. It's kind of like relevant. So basically, my tactic was I took Merry, took him off his pony, upon recommendation, gave him the Elven Cloak. I made him the guy I was supposed to protect, and I figured my opponent was going to pick Fatty Bulger, but he actually put my Ranger in the north. And Fatty Bulger was another model. I took just a random drop the model down. Okay, now you got to put down a warband of guys. That's basically it's a good tactic for the hobbits. So in fact, he did pick one of my Rangers in the north, and killed him. So that's how he was able to do it. So I took Merry. I took basically all the characters except for Farmer Maggot, Lobelia, and Frodo. And I just maxed them out with non-battle and brandy back warbands. Again, upon recommendation, I just took them, and because of the piercing strike mechanic, a majority of the hobbits have axes. So I just did piercing strike. It saved me like 50 points because of all the militia I had. So yeah, that's basically what I took for hobbits. My logic being is I don't want to have too many points invested in a model that's going to die like that. So also I took no Fight 3 archers, and I did take a warband worth of sheriffs. That stun did really good for me. First round, Dane charged the sheriff. I charged Dane with the sheriff. I knew that he had no might left, so he couldn't heroic come at the sheriff, so I went for it. I rolled a 6, he rolled a 5, had no might left, and I just stunned him. Kept stunning him until the game ended. So basically, I would recommend anyone who can grab a few sheriff's models, or can convert a few, I would definitely recommend taking the hobbits. It basically gives you a transfix, and it's just great. I'd recommend it. Okay, so going on to my 4th game of Nova. So this is where I'm going to go into a little more detail on the Pippin and Sam. So Merry, basically, he wasn't in combat at all the whole tournament up until this game because he has the horn. I want to keep him alive, give my guys that +1 courage I want. So that game was Hold Ground, so it's the Maelstrom rules. Basically, I got lucky, really lucky. My warband with Ellen and here did not come in. I didn't mind it. I was like, okay, that's fine. His Gandalf did not come in. So Gandalf, he rolled the number. He came in on a board edge, kind of away from his army, and he was easily like a march or 2 movements away from getting to his army. And he, I think he realized that. I rolled a 6 with Ellen here, a natural 6. So I was like, okay, put them right behind Gandalf. And the next turn, I trapped Gandalf. I was able to kill him in like 1 turn. It was probably the luckiest thing that happened in terms of I couldn't have scripted it better. And because of that, I believe I was able to really win the game because if Gandalf was still alive, he could be transfixing my twins. He could have been Sorcerer's Blasting Hobbits, which is terrible for him. So ultimately, I think I was able to win the game because of that. Now, he was able to get to the center objective first and block it off. And he did a great job doing that. But ultimately, eventually, I was just able to start killing guys. The last 2 turns of the game was really bad for him. I was able to win the fights, kill the guy, win the fight, kill the guy. He did make quite a few stays with Malbeth, but it wasn't enough. Ultimately, I won as 8-2. 8 might have been 8-0, I don't remember. But it was, I think he did have a few victory points. No. I don't remember. But I know I won like 8 victory points. It was a really good game. It was a really good opponent. It was probably one of my favorite games I had. Now I'm going to go into detail about it. So I saved Sam and Peregrine. I took them on ponies just because they're a little mini-me missile, basically. So you got Gil-galad, you got Boromir, these huge missiles. We got little mini-me missiles. Sam and Peregrine. Take them on ponies, go in there and try and kill them, just regular warriors with them. Basically, I think is what they're good at. But last turn of the game, I was in desperate mode. I was like, look, his Elden here uncontested. So they were both out of might. I charged one of them with Sam, trapped him in militia, charged the other one because he killed one of my twins. So the other one went berserk, charged his twin. It was a really weird game in terms of we both had Alan and Alan in our army because they're great models. Who wouldn't take them? So last turn of the game, Pippin. I won the fight against Malbeth and somehow killed him. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Pippin just won me, or he secured me the win. I was a little bit skeptical, whatever. I was like, I'm probably gonna get in the tie again, but Pippin, and the fact that he couldn't touch Paladin because Paladin was my leader, sitting in the back, he had his top hat. He's like, "Good job, guys. I'm back here." That's basically how I played Paladin. Just have him in the back. He's not really a guy that has to be in combat. He doesn't, he's not really good at combat. I don't see the need for him to be in combat. So why not just have him in the back doing nothing? And it worked. It was a really good tactic. No one could get to him. I got lucky, not versing a single monster and not versing a single ring wraith, so no one could fly over my army and black dart him, which is what I was worried about. And in fact, I think there was a really low number of ring wraiths this tournament. I think Devin said there was the fewest he's seen in a long time. So anyway, back to the game. Going back to the game, I killed one of his twins. Sam and the militia piercing struck up. I won the fight, knocked the twin down, killed him. And the other twin, I don't remember if I killed both of them, but I remember I might have, because the other twin then went insane, and my guy was strength 5, his defense 4, so I need 4s. Yeah, it's something like that. It's somewhere. I don't know if I killed both the twins. He killed one of mine. I killed one of his. At least I know that, but I don't remember if both of them died. But anyway, I won the game. It was just because my numbers were ultimately able to keep him out. He didn't break me. He was a turn away, 2 away from breaking me. I think actually he was 2 away from breaking me the turn before, but he didn't kill a single Hobbit, which is something unheard of, especially at the amount of combats. It's like, I'm probably going to lose the game. He's going to keep me off the objective, break me, I'm not going to break him, and I won't be able to kill his leader. But last turn of the game, I won the game. It was a very tactical game, too. So then I'm going to the last game of the Nova for the GT. So ultimately I versed a guy playing an Orc Horde. He even said I had more models than him, which is the first person at Nova to have more models than him. But I knew if I got in combat with him too quick, because the Hobbit army, I'm keeping my eye on the clock. It's really important because I know what my army can do. As like, if I have an army, if I have an hour left in the game, I don't think he can break me with the 40 models he has to kill. So I kept my eye on the clock. That's a tactic with Shire at a tournament. Now here's what I'm contemplating. I don't know if the Shire is a legitimate force outside of tournaments. Now, I think they are. Like, they are a legitimate force, but if you're going to go win with him, I think time games is really important with him. And I proved that to myself by keeping my eye on the clock, using the clock. I didn't move slow and do that or anything. But when I was moving and engaged in combats, I was really focused on the time, because I knew what my army could do in the certain amount of time I had, which is another tactic that I would recommend doing with Hobbits, and maybe any other army, any numbers army. So, going on, last game, it was Weapon of the Enemy. I had to destroy his jewel, or I had to destroy my jewel in his forge. He has to destroy his jewel in my forge. Basically, it was a stalemate. We were both playing horde armies we couldn't get through. When we got into combat, basically it was a draw. How it was a draw is I wounded his jewel bearer / leader. He didn't touch mine because Paladin. My jewel bearer was untouched, luckily, or I faded out of any wounds I took. Diversion markers were basically contested, and it was a draw. A really close draw. It was a low point game. That's why I think if I had a little bit higher points that game, or maybe if he did, or if I was able to not lose that one game, I could have placed a little bit higher. I placed 20th, which I'm happy with because it was an improvement, a huge improvement from the year before. So moving on. So basically after Nova, I 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. So I'm happy with that. It's a huge improvement. I think it's because of the Shire force I was able to do it. If I was playing another army, and I don't know, because of the way the Shire force is played, I was able to beat guys that I think are probably better than me. I'm not really a great player. I don't aspire to be. I aspire to be a great player, but I don't think I'm a great player currently. I think I'm learning, like a lot of people, especially competitively. There's a lot of different ins and outs of it. So, but I would recommend the Shire force to anyone going to a tournament. I think that it's a great army. One of my favorite armies I own now, and favorite armies to play. But there are some huge flaws to it. So one being, your guys are incredibly weak. Even your heroes, low defense, low strength, low fight value. High courage, high numbers. That's basically what they got going for them. And because they're so cheap, you can take a great ally. That's where I think taking a synergistic ally, elves, rangers, dwarves maybe. I think spear support though is a big deal for them. I'm going to try taking a monster with him. I got the Treebird model. You can see in that unboxing video I got. Try that out. But I think the Hobbit army is a legitimate army, but I don't know in a non-tournament setting how they would play, because I haven't really used them yet. And because basically I've used them just in practice games for Nova. We've timed all of our games for 2 hours, and then of course at Nova was timed. So I'm going to really try and explore the army a little bit more. But this is kind of a semi-tactics talk / review of my Nova games. I didn't really go over the games during our journey. I was more, again, I was caught up in the moment, so kudos to whoever can film the whole thing through, because I was having a hard time doing it. But, so yeah, that was basically my tactics talk vault and overview. So basically the Hobbit army, I think, is a great army. You have to learn how to play the objectives of the game with them. You have to kind of know what they can do. It's like about every other army, but they're a little bit more difficult, I think, to kind of time, just because of how weak they are. Not as like a force overall, they're great, but the individual models are pretty weak. And in fact, your big heroes that are hard hitters aren't hitting very hard, and they're not defense 7 guys. They're defense 4 and 5. Defense 5, I think Frodo's defense 6, and he's the highest defense in the army list. And most people I versed just go for breaking me and killing as many guys. Lords of Battle's the only game type I can say I've lost. Hugin. I lost the one Fog War game at Nova, but other than Lords of Battle, I've been able to win most of the games with the Hobbits. I just think they're a great army. And even to the death, I think they could be a really good army, I think. Because in that one, you're not really going for the numbers killed, you're going for breaking your opponent. And since the Hobbit army has so many models, you probably won't get broken. If you play it smart, time it and stuff. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. It's kind of a weird video of me ranting and talking. It's not really a legitimate tactics talk. Maybe someday I'll do a legitimate tactics talk for the Hobbits. I kind of want to get a little more games in with them. I learned a little bit more of their style. I've had probably 20 or 30 games with them in the last 3 months. No exaggeration. I've done a ton of games trying to learn how to play them. That is just kind of prep for Nova and other tournaments to come. But please like, share, subscribe, comments. Support your Hobbit hobby, and enjoy the dice, guys.